Hey everyone, it has been a long time because I've been at a conference all week, but I wanted to go ahead and get on here and address the acute radiation syndrome in the Red Forest situation and really put things to rest finally. In my previous video, I was able to prove that the trenches that these soldiers were digging were not in the Red Forest. And since I made that video, there's actually been some numbers that have come out of the radiation levels in those trenches. There's also been some information released about the sources that were stolen from the Chernobyl lab. So here's a Telegram post released by Ukraine that showed that the levels were 3.2 to 4 microsieverts per hour. And that is actually extremely low levels. That's about the level of radiation that you're exposed to on a transatlantic flight. And it would be impossible to get radiation sickness from that level. And one of the things that people have been mentioning to me is the surface contamination and the soil contamination, as well as the dust that's being lifted up in the air. The good thing is, I do a lot of that dose modeling for radioactive materials in the environment for a living. And I was able to use a software called TurboFermac to do a calculation on how much soil would you need to consume in order to get an acute dose of radiation that was enough to cause you to get sick. I was able to take soil sample data from the most radioactive parts of the Red Forest and calculate that you would have to consume 53 kilograms of soil to get enough acute dose to get acute radiation syndrome. As for the inhalation dose, you could have taken all that radioactive material and tossed it in the air and breathed that air for 30 days, and it wouldn't even register as an acute dose on my software. And as someone who does this for a living, that wasn't surprising at all, because inhalation hazard from something that's been sitting in that dirt for a long period of time really isn't that high. The dust particles are just too large to get into the lungs. What about the sources they stole? According to the Ukrainian regulator, that was 7 million becquerels, which actually is a very tiny amount of radioactive material. After doing the unit conversions to microcuries, it's equal to about 20 of these check sources that you can buy online from this website. And none of this is enough to cause acute radiation syndrome. In order to get acute radiation syndrome, you need a large dose of radiation in a short period of time over most or all of your body. To get acute radiation syndrome from these fuel fragments that are in the area, you would need dozens of them to create a whole field for your body. And if that far away from the plant, it's just not likely.